Call to order the Finance Committee meeting for September the 6th, 2016. Our first item is a special recognition from the mayor.
I want to read a statement about Benita Hatima, who is the Employee of the Month for September 2016. Benita was hired into the purchasing department in July of 2015. After only a short time, Benita transferred to the accounting department, where she currently holds the position of Accounting Clerk 1. Benita recently earned her bachelor's degree in business administration in May of 2015 and is planning to enroll in the master's degree accounting program at OSU in the spring. Outside of work, Benita likes to spend time with her 4 children and attend their extracurricular activities, and she enjoys reading and listening to music. Growing up in Muskogee, Benita is excited to stay in the area and raise her family as Okies, and we're excited she's doing that too. Benita was nominated for Employee of the Month for going beyond what is asked of her. The criteria to select from for Employee of the Month includes demonstrating a proficiency of assigned duties, promoting a pleasant working environment, showing dependability, demonstrating a positive work attitude, going above and beyond normal work job expectations, receiving positive peer, internal, and external customer comments, and demonstrating selfless of courageous acts. And Benita has hit each of those marks extremely well. So congratulations to Benita. She was not able to attend today, but we want to recognize her as the Employee of the Month.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1.
Consider approval of the Finance Committee minutes of August 16, 2016.
Reviewing the minutes, are there any corrections?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept the minutes. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor James Gully,
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Cale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 1 passed. Item number 2.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments from August 11, 2016 to August 31, 2016.
Do we have a report from the Purchasing Committee?
Yes, sir. The Purchasing Committee met earlier today and reviewed the report of claims with the city treasurer, and I move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept the claims. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Cale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 2 passed. Item number 3.
Receive report from Sports Facilities Management relating to the contracted operations of Love Hatbox Sports Complex and take any necessary action.
Mr. Tucker?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Andy Ballard with Sports Facilities Management is here tonight, and he'd like to give us an update on the progress that they've made for this year. And with that, I'll turn it over to Andy.
Andy's, what was his last name?
Ballard.
Ballard? I don't believe we've met.
Good afternoon. Nice to meet you. Just a quick update. Won't take a lot of your time. I know you have a busy agenda. Just wanted to give you some of the ups and downs that we're working with Love Hatbox. To year to date, and I'll preface this with our fiscal year is a January to December fiscal year, and I know that you're not on the same fiscal year, but running from January until the end of August, revenue has tripled since Sports Facilities Management has taken over the account. Our local usage is grown 2/3 over last year's numbers, and we are poised to have our multi-purpose field, our long fields, to really see that blossom this year, which is the key for us hitting a zero sustainability at the end of the year, or subsidy. Some of the things that we're working on are we're adding some leadership into the facility. When you have substantial growth in any business, you need to continue to focus on your leadership and make sure you're growing in the right direction and that the leadership can handle that growth. We're in the final stages of interview processes to add person to the team, and understanding that we will not be adding any revenue to the team. This has to be done within the confines of the budget. So we're finalizing that now, and then we're doing a little bit more of a focus to detail on the maintenance of the facility. Facility looks great. You know, I did a little bit of a secret shopper co-op a couple times over the summer, and people are saying that they can see the improvements and that we're investing in the property. from a managerial standpoint, it's time for us to shift our focus into the details and make sure that all those details are taken care of and that we're consistent across the board. So that's where we're at for right now. I just wanted to take a little bit of time to get in front of you and let you see my face for the first time, if not. And anytime you need that information, I'm accessible. Any questions?
Andy, I just have one. We did G-Fest, and we put in all of those electrical outlets for RVs. Is that anything that you're all going to be able to use in your sometime in the long-term future, or is that even on your radar?
Yes, sir. Anytime you add to the asset, it's our responsibility to try to leverage it. When I was at the World Series, one of the things that stuck out to me is we've got the water park, we've got the RVs, and we can create a kind of a family weekend to where people can use those. And I've been brainstorming a little bit of how can we use marketing of the RV dealership down the road and maybe provide that opportunity for people that don't have an RV to be able to come and still utilize it. And there's a gamut of things that we can do. So yes, it's on the radar. How fast that sort of thing ramps up, it takes time for people to know it's there, go aha, and then it's usually the next year that you see them participating and actually using it. But that's just from the sports asset. We'll be a little bit more aggressive elsewhere.
Well, this may be a question for the city manager. We did Wi-Fi for G-Fest, and we've talked about the pricing to do a Wi-Fi for the ball fields. Can I get an update on that little project, or is that just something we just did for G-Fest? And
It was something that we had initially done for G-Fest, but we were looking into having it out there continuously. You may remember when we approved the contract with Suddenlink, it was for a substantial amount of megabytes, but that was only a 1-month pricing.
Right.
And so as the Hatbox asset continues to grow, that is something we will look at adding in future years to have out there permanently. And in fact, they have recently exercised their Phase 2 development out there to put some additional, not towers, but some additional hotspots surrounding the area. But we'll get some more information on that and have a fuller update for you very soon.
so now I'm going to ask Andy, is that something that would be a very good piece that we, as a city, we could add to your management facility? Is a Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I mean, it's an amenity, right? And when you're trying to compete with other venues, every amenity you have leans in your favor, provides different sponsorship opportunities. You can steer traffic, you can track traffic better. So it's always a plus. We're partners in this together. We're going to make sure that we're balancing expense with amenities and providing the service that we need. So, we have a pretty good line of communication where we can kind of feel out where those pressure points are. So we won't run into it too fast, but the sooner the better. And it provides other revenue streams too. So if we can justify it through revenue, we'll move.
So is this something our competition's doing when you go to other cities? Do they have a free Wi-Fi set up?
Some do, some don't.
Okay, so we're kind of right in the middle of it all?
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't call it a differentiator right now.
Okay.
It is nice to have, but if you go to the mall, you might hop on their Wi-Fi, but you might just use your data too. So it's one of those things where it just isn't a differentiator.
Okay, thank you.
When you say that you tripled the revenue out there, I don't know that. I don't have any figures or anything in my packet that shows that y'all have done that. I don't have anything to compare it to.
I can send you information. The numbers that I'm going off of, the ones that were initially put in the last report, the annual report when Jason Clement was here and myself. And so the original number was under $100,000, and if you take all subsidy out and you just talk revenue, we're about $360 right now.
Okay, I'd like to see that in some kind of a report because did you have a good response to the World Series out there?
I did. I was here for the World Series. Like anything, I'm critical. I expect a certain level of performance and professionalism, and there were some things that I thought went well and some things that I thought we can improve on, but overall the response was positive. Because
my dilemma is that you always have people that are going to say negative things. You're going to have, and you very seldom get the positive out of people. They're like, oh, good, yeah, this is nice, and they go on about their way. But when we have negative things, they all start screaming. And you never know how much of that's true because you don't have, if you have like 4 or 5 people that call, then you're like, okay, there's 4 or 5 people out of 8,000 or something or whatever showed up out there. So you kind of balance where in the world that's coming from. The only complaint that I've got from that was that some games didn't have referees or umpires. I'm sorry, wrong sport, but umpires. And it took them a long time to find umpires to come fill in. That was the only complaint that I had. Other than that, the surface got fine. The facilities was overwhelmingly nicer than it's been. It was just the umpires.
The tough part is that when you hear the Geico commercial, it's 97% satisfaction rate. Well, how many people is 3%, right?
Yeah.
That could be some enormous amount of people. We will measure by retention how many people are coming back. Okay. We obviously are doing the surveys, but just like anything, the way that you get the positive is that you make people write their name on it. And if you make them write their name on it, they tend to if they care enough to give you a response, they're giving you a really honest response, not a vent. We'll listen to the vents as well. We usually get those in real time. The officials thing, there's no real excuse for that. The officials are usually assigned. You know, if somebody goes, oh, I've got to go, my son's sick, then you have to maneuver and try to play, move them over. And I have no idea what that specific situation is, but that's part of the job. You've got to be able to react to that.
But for the most part, I did hear good things about it.
Great.
So
good.
Are we at a point in your observation where the good things that are going on are outweighing the negative things? Because at one point, I think a lot of us were getting overwhelmed with complaints from parents and user groups of their perception of a disconnection between the local management and what their needs were. Are we at a point where we're making a good turn away from the negative into the positive?
I think from my perspective, we are starting to grow at a capacity that we have to focus on the details now. The positive always outweigh the negative. When you make an investment this way, the way Muskogee has, and you see the business that's generated from it, that's a positive thing. And I've seen the outcome of it. So I've got the benefit of being able to see what happens afterwards and all the businesses that pop up. So it's always a positive thing. This is a critical moment in the sense that this is where you have to pull everything together. So now the more usage goes up, the harder it is to balance local and regional and get the hotels involved. And so that's just a part of the overall puzzle. All in all, the whole thing's positive, and you're moving in the right direction, and we're dedicated to that, and we understand that there's a financial commitment that we have to hit, and we take it very seriously, and that's why we're focusing on the leadership and building the staff up, because at the end of the day, a church with no people is just a building, right? And so we got to build that infrastructure up.
And I thought I'd ask that question now rather than wait till there's another furor of people calling us and emailing us just to be certain that we're all headed in that direction. Of course, you're always going to have that some, as some of us have already alluded to, but as long as we're going in a really big upturn in the right direction, I think that'll satisfy a lot of people.
And I think if you hear those things and there starts to be a trend, it's important for us to get out in front of them and communicate of what's happening, because a lot of times people are affected by overusage. They're used to getting, just walking out there at any given time, and the fields are available, and and the busier you get, the more that goes away. And so we got to provide that opportunity, and at the same time bring in the people that justifies the investment.
Andy, the last report that I have is for the July report. Is that the one that was on 8/18? Is that the one that you're talking about?
It's not syncing up in my head. The numbers that I pulled off were year to date, January to the end of August. So you haven't received the August report yet, is what you're saying?
No, I just have the one that I have was July 16, and that was the one that I sent out in my Friday report on the 19th.
I'll make sure you get that August one in then.
And then I'll share that with members of the council.
Perfect.
I think it's one of the most important things is good communication, and I think that's what really created some of the challenges that we've had in the past, and hopefully we'll avoid some of the challenges in the future, is that we have good on-site communication with all the users. And I know one thing that sports facility management has done is put in place surveys of user groups. I would like to see them expanded where they're more in detailed, and I'd like to see that information gets back to the council. We have been getting those survey groups or survey results, but they've been real narrow. And
Would you like to see them just in raw form?
I would like to see them in raw form.
All right.
I'd like to see them in raw form.
Okay. Noted.
Chairman, may I be recognized?
Yes, sir.
How are your relationship with the soccer leagues?
Soccer leagues. In general, there was a little bit of, for lack of better terms, there was a stiff arm. You know, the soccer community was really driven by one group, and in our attempt to really kind of keep the local user, to be able to keep them where they want to be and to reach the financial goals that we have, we're just yin and yang. They weren't going to mesh up. We've had the opportunity to speak with them over the last year and kind of overcome some of those barriers. And so now what we're getting to is that everybody's coming together to try to make soccer better. We've got too many kids going down the road from here to play soccer at other organizations, and I think that was really the eye-opening thing, is that let's just grow soccer here and utilize the assets that we have, and all that's come together, and we're for sure have one soccer tournament on the books now, but we're looking at 3 for the fall.
Have you reached out to the Muskogee High School soccer coach? Because last time someone came in from your company, he was going to talk to him, but they left town, and I was just wondering how that's going.
Well, Ivory, let me help you. That soccer coach left.
Oh, did he?
He's no longer with us.
Oh, okay.
We went to the other side of the state.
Which is one other thing I was wanting to, because I was sitting here going, oh, I can tell you about this. They've hired a young man out there by name of, his last name is
Denton.
Mm-hmm. That is really working with the soccer club and is becoming a liaison for the soccer club and everything out there. And I have nothing but positive things coming back to him, as well as you got a guy out there that's doing the adult softball.
Brenner, yes.
Yeah, doing the adult softball, and it's coming along too. And I've heard a lot of compliments about that. They don't have their scheduling's working better. Their things are coming together for them out there since they got these younger guys involved in this.
All right. I appreciate that.
Denton's on their board.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, because like I said, it was a little controversy a while back about it. So I turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 4.
Consider approval of the only bid from H&G Paving Contractors for the City Hall parking lot improvements as per the unit prices submitted in their bid in the amount of $106,675, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, Prague Mahajan is going to present this to you, and I'll assist him if needed.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the committee. We are here to ask for approval for the only bid with H&G Contractors for our City Hall parking lot improvements. And they have submitted, we had advertised the bids, and we only received one proposal. And though the pre-bid was attended by a couple of other local contractors too, there were a few names in there. A couple of them did not do asphalt work, and there's one which was Patton & Associates, which did not submit a bid. I called Austin Patton and I spoke to him, and he said with their current workload, they were not willing to submit a bid if they were not able to service us. And there was another contractor I called. He did not attend the pre-bid, but we had sent the packet to him, and I asked him why he had not submitted a bid, or he did not come to the pre-bid. He said the same thing, that because of his present workload, he would not be able to submit. He was not able to submit this bid. And keeping that in mind, we would recommend accepting the bid from H&G Paving Contractors so we can perform repairs to our parking lot.
Move for approval.
I've got a question about, is this just the parking lot east of the building here?
East of the building, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Tucker, what funding account is this coming from?
Parking Authority.
Yes, and I will add that will be on Monday night's Parking Authority budget or agenda. And we hope to have the 3rd and 4th Street Columbus parking lot on there also.
Good.
We're reviewing the bids right now. We've already received them.
I think I have a motion and a second. Okay, any additional questions? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 4 passed. Item number 5.
Consider approval of lowest and best bid from Rig Pacific Company in the amount of $547.50 per tank for purchase of 109 2-cubic yard containers, rear loading for fiscal year 2016-2017, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes, we received 2 bids. The Rarig Pacific price was $547.50 per 2-yard container, and Auto Environmental was $638.50. This is for a plastic style container, which we have not had in the past. This is the first time we're actually going out for a bid of plastic 2-yard containers. We have bought a Rarig Pacific container that was plastic about 7 or 8 years ago and put it at Whittier School, and it is still in very good shape. The bottoms are still very well intact. It's definitely an improvement of these metal containers that we currently have. The great part about it is it will improve maintenance, and these plastic containers are a lot lighter and easier for our employees to move, and 2-yarders are the kind that they have to actually pull up to the back of the truck to hook up. Rarig Pacific is also the company that provides all of our polycarts. We've done business with them for many, many years. They're reputable. They service. They stand by their warranties. These do have a 3-year warranty that goes along with them. We are buying 109 2-yard containers and recommend approval, and we'll answer any of your questions.
What are we doing about disposing of the excess containers?
We cut those up and we piecemeal them back together as often as we can. By the time we get through, there's very little left of these containers, and then we usually put them in a Yaffe dumpster. They go to Yaffe and are sold, and then that fund comes back to general fund. But we do just wear these metal containers completely out.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item 5 passed. Item number 6, please.
Consider approval of receiving donated funds for the month of June 2016 in the amount of $150 and July 2016 in the amount of $605 for a total of $755 for the city's animal shelter sponsorship program as per the attached list, or take other necessary action.
Chief?
Mr. Chairman, sound a little redundant, but $755 was what we received for the month of June and July, $150 in June and $605 in July. These money go for internal operations in the animal shelter, but I request that you accept these funds.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve item number 6. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item 6 passed, and that was our final item.
We'll now call to order the Public Works Committee meeting. Item number 1, when you're ready, Pam.
Consider approval of the Public Works Committee minutes of August 16, 2016.
Additions, changes?
Move for approval.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 2.
Hold a public hearing and take action on the approval of an ordinance rezoning the property located on Big Street west of North 17th Street, more particularly described in the ordinance, from R1 Single Family Residential District to R5 Mobile Home District, and if approved, authorize staff to revise the official zoning map of the city to reflect said change.
We are now in the public hearing. Mr. Garvin?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, the applicant is requesting approval to rezone 2.28 acres from the R1 Single Family Residential District to the R5 Mobile Home District. The property is located on Big Street, west of North 17th Street. The reason for the rezoning is to allow the property to be developed residentially. They are proposing a mobile home on the property. Looking at the existing zoning land use within the area, starting with the site itself. Currently, the site is zoned R1 single family and is vacant, undeveloped property. To the north is outside the city limits, so there is no zoning classification, and is vacant property, pasture land. South is zoned R1 single family and is also vacant, undeveloped property. East is zoned R1 single family, and there is a couple of single family dwellings along 17th Street. And west is zoned A agricultural and is vacant, undeveloped property. Now, the land use map typically shows commercial, residential, and industrial classifications, but not all classifications are shown in those categories. For example, on the residential, it'll show either single-family, transitional, residential, or multifamily. So mobile home is not a classification shown. Therefore, mobile homes are considered on a case-by-case basis. And since they are considered single-family dwellings, they're not required to amend the land use map. But they are looked at on a case-by-case basis. Now, if you look at the area, the majority of the property within the area is undeveloped, never been developed. There's also property that is currently zoned or currently has mobile home on the property within the neighborhood. So we feel like rezoning this to the R5 mobile home would not cause a negative impact to the area. And this item has been recommended for approval by both staff and Planning Commission. Be glad to answer any questions.
Seeing that no one has signed up to talk about this issue, we're going to close the public hearing. Questions or comments by this committee?
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other thoughts? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Item number 3.
Consider approval of the preliminary and final plat for Hancock Addition consisting of one lot on 5 acres located on Georgia Avenue east of Jeffrey Drive, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Garvin.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, the applicant is requesting approval of the preliminary and final plat of Hancock Addition consisting of one lot on 5 acres. The property is located on Georgia Avenue just east of Jeffrey Street. The reason for platting the property is to allow it to be developed residentially. They are proposing a single-family dwelling on the property. Now, the applicant is required to install a cul-de-sac or a T-turnaround at the end of Georgia Street. And I will let you know that in Planning Commission did grant a variance or waiver to one of the subdivision review or subdivision requirements, which the requirement states that the water and sewer has to be extended across the full length of the property. When this was originally taken to the subdivision review committee, they looked at it, determined that because of the drainage issues around the property, it would not be feasible to extend the water and sewer main, other than to get access to water and sewer for this property. And subdivision review committee did recommend approval. Planning Commission did approve it, and Planning Commission makes the final approval or denial on those types of variances or waivers. So that's just an FYI. What you're looking at today, though, is just simply approval of a preliminary and final plat, and it's been recommended for approval by staff, subdivision review committee, and Planning Commission. Be glad to answer any questions.
I'd like to move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 4.
Consider approval of the appointment of Stacy Simpson to the city's facility board, replacing Judy Hoffman to serve a 5-year term beginning on September 1st, 2016 and ending on August 31st, 2021, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Coleman.
Stacy Simpson has been very engaged in our community. She was very helpful when we were having the discussions early on about the urban renewal process. She worked to coordinate communication with residents and landowners. She's continued to express her interest in serving in this city, and I am glad to recommend her, and that would be my motion that she be on the facilities board.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 5.
Consider approval of the appointment of James E. Tolbert IV to the Historic Preservation Commission to serve a 3-year term beginning on October 1st, 2016, and ending on September 30th, 2019, replacing Melanie Carey, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Coleman.
As has been previously stated, the same applies to Mr. Talbert, who has also been very engaged in trying to do more to make Muskogee a better place. He's a very engaged gentleman in our community, and my recommendation is for him to be approved to be on this commission.
Is that a motion, did you say?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Item number 6.
Consider approval of a request for time extension from October 25th, 2016 to December 9th, 2016 for Warfeather original contract on the Downtown Gateways project, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, Prague has put together a real brief update on you on the location of the gateways, and he's got a couple of pictures to show you of the current status. Warfeather is a pleasure to work with. Adam is always polite on the job. We really don't expect his extensions to take effect. We think we're going to finish this project way ahead of schedule, but he is due these days, and Prague's going to explain that to you and also show you a real brief update on the project.
It's me once again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with the first one. This is the overall gateway sites, and as you can see, I've marked them all with stars. This is the third in Columbus. The picture is not, it should be clear on your screens. The one is just being fabricated, you can see that, and it's being fabricated locally in TerraFab here. So what he has planned for that, we should be installing it on the week of the 26th. So he's scheduling an install for that on the 3rd in Columbus Street, the Depot District Arch on the 26th. This is 3rd and Broadway, which are already in service. Just we are planning to get power to all those, and these are done. Same thing on 3rd and Denison. As you can see, the city plaque, the city seal is on there. The bronze plaques. This is Oak, Mulgee, and Cherokee. The lettering is already there.
So, Brock, what are we lighting up?
Yes, sir.
I see in the small print that you've got some LED lighting and some outlets. You're going too fast.
Hold on. let me see if
I'm
I
speed
can.
watching.
Yes, the LED lighting, the way it is that there's a LED light at the bottom of the tower and there's another one on top, and they can change colors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. And depending on how we can program them, we can have it for azaleas, we can have it for Christmas, whatever colors we want, we can have those in there. And
Awesome.
Cool, isn't it?
It is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we currently have a plan in the process to get this completed for the electrical side of it, and it's down considerably from the 400,000+. We think we're in the $20,000 to $30,000 range,
Wow.
and we're currently trying to seek funding sources.
Awesome. Sorry, Prague.
This is in 9th and Oak Mulgee. Again, the picture is not very clear because it was raining. And they were actually in the process of putting those letters up when they got rained off. This is the Katy District Archway, which we just, all of you had just approved a change order for us. So right now this is in fabrication. I can just show you that. These are the rolled beams which they've already got, and they have started fabrication on that. We are expecting the drawings to be submitted sometime this week, those detailed construction drawings. And I think these were the design changes we had in there to incorporate the AASHTO design criteria. And then this will involve a lane closure on both, so we'll have to involve ODOT in there too. And I think he is, yes, as per the contractor, the install is scheduled in the first week of November for this one. So in talking to him, he did say that he wanted to finish it by Thanksgiving.
Good.
Question?
Any questions?
May I be recognized, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Yeah, Brock, on these ones is already up. Refresh my memory. What was the cost of each one?
I don't have the cost of each one as a site, but I do have the total cost. The total cost was $700,000 in the beginning, and approximately, and then we passed a change order, which was in the range of $47,000. So in total, the project is about $750,000.
That's including the one on Main Street also?
Yes, that's the Columbus Street overpass. Yes, sir. That
$750,000.
includes that.
Okay. I was just curious. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Could have went to a lot of other things. I turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I need do I have a motion to extend the?
Now, this extension of days is be due to the delays in location, the delays in processing. It's mainly due to nothing on his part, but it's delays on, because that's what the explanation didn't get to, but.
And weather days.
And weather days.
And they're all allowable under his contract. And again, he's on the job. We don't anticipate even getting that late into the year, but he is due those days.
But there were a number of delays that were related to site locations.
We had some ODOT approval that was delayed him, and that was not his doing. We actually had everything submitted to ODOT. It had to go to the state capital level ODOT and then back down, and it did extend it out. But Adam continued to work on everything while that was.
I just want to make sure it's clear, we got a number of different projects going on at this same time period, and it's clear that, this delays on this contract or nothing related to anything that the contractor did or didn't do.
No, this has been a contractor very pleasurable to work with. He's on the job. He responds. You asked him something, and he's there with an answer. If he says he's going to be on the job on a certain day, he's there.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other comments or discussion?
I like to say the gateways, they really look pretty coming in town. You see Muskogee downtown and everything. And like I say, it really dresses the downtown area up. But to me, it's like getting a $10,000 rims on a $1,000 car. You got to dress the rest of the downtown up. And I guess that's going to come later, but that's just my take on it. I'm going to go ahead and vote yes on it, but that's just how I feel about it. Some of that money could have went to a lot of infrastructure here in Muskogee that we need desperately. All these water leaks I see running around, every day that I have to call in. That's my 2 cents, Mr. Chairman. I'll turn the floor back to you.
Motion and second. Any other comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Motion carries. Item number 7.
Consider approval of a resolution of support for the Depot District development and pledging the city's cooperation with the Depot District Committee for the ongoing revitalization and growth within the Depot District and the downtown area, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, good afternoon. Earlier this year, the City of Muskogee Foundation granted $50,000 to the city, actually, to do a study for the Depot District. The Depot District had gone to them with a request for a grant to study and put in perhaps a green and a park area near the Depot District. And so the foundation said, before we fund the whole thing, we'd like to give you a grant to put together a plan and get it all phased out. But they didn't have a 501c3 organization set up to receive that grant. So the foundation requested that the city receive the grant and help administer it. So as part of that, we've been working with the Depot District organization. In your packet, you can see who that's made up of. It's a lot of the organizations that have their headquarters in the Depot District, the Hall of Fame, the Three Rivers Museum, the New Little Theater, to make sure that everyone has their input on how that plan goes forward. So what's outlined in the resolution is really kind of the document of how we move forward administering that grant with their input and, of course, with the city's input to design what that area may look like in the future. So we've gone to the Depot District. They have reviewed it. That committee has reviewed it. They feel comfortable with it. So we need to bring it forward to the City Council and say this is the format in which we'd like to work with the Depot District moving forward. And we recommend approval.
Any questions for Mr. Miller?
Move the approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Item number 8.
Consider approval of resolutions declaring the following parcels of property as surplus to the needs of the city and authorize the conveyance of said property or take other necessary action.
Mr. Miller.
You see the two properties there that are listed. The first one is, was the only property, was the only bidder on that property through our surplus property program. We're receiving the $363 minimum bid for that. The second one is part of the incentive property program, and we're excited to bring that one forward as well. This would bring the total number of properties to 39 that have been approved through this process if we approve these. We recommend approval for these, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Mr. Hall, what's the count? 52, 39? What?
Closer to 38.7.
I wondered if that was going to come up.
I was too. I had to bring it. I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Item number 9.
Consider approval of the appointment of Thomas Carment to the Eastern Oklahoma District Library System to serve a 3-year term beginning on September 1st, 2016 and ending on August 31st, 2019, or take other necessary action.
Mayor Coburn.
This is my appointment, and I'm recommending Thomas Carment, and his information is attached, and I move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Item number 10.
Consider approval of the appointment of Counselor Dan Hall to the City of Muskogee Foundation Board to serve a 2-year term beginning on September 1st, 2016 and ending August 31st, 2018, or take other necessary action.
Thank you. I have one citizen wishing to speak to this item. Would you like to hear it now, or?
Mr. Gully,
Yes, sir.
I really don't have to speak on it. I can just talk because it's like I say, it's on the
Sure.
agenda, and I'm a councilman. I just wanted to put that down just in case.
Okay.
In case I get shut off.
And on 11 too? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Floor is yours.
Yes, about a couple of months ago, I asked for this appointment for myself to be appointed to this board, and every councilman up here has been appointed to the foundation board. And when Councilman Coleman came on the council the same time I did, he was appointed to this foundation board. Councilman Kale here, he was appointed to this foundation board a couple of council meetings ago. And like I say, I believe that really up here, just like down there at that mic when I used to talk, I believe I'm being ignored, and I know I'm being ignored on this board. And I don't know, like I say, I like Mr. Hall. Hey, he's going to be a good board member. But I told you plainly that day that I knew I wasn't going to be considered for this board, Mr. Hall. You remember me telling you that. And I think, Mayor, you're wrong. You know, you say you want diversity here in Muskogee. You want this and you want that. We get diversity when we've got something going wrong. But for as diversity, for as a councilman, you got 2 councilmen on the board. Okay, at least one councilman should have some diversity in them. But I knew in my heart that you wasn't going to put me on that board, because I know how you feel about me. But I just want to thank you, sir, because you're the second mayor that have, the first one mayor, he lost my application because I wanted to be on the park board. He just simply lost it, didn't find it. But you, sir, I know you wasn't going to put me on this board because I know how you feel about me. But I respect that, and I respect you. So, like I said, Councilman Hall, it's your board, but like I said, I feel it's very wrong here in Muskogee how y'all do people for its diversity, and I'm just as qualified as you to be on that board. So I turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Chairman, and that's all I have to say.
Mayor Coburn? I'm sorry, I should have asked you first.
That's okay. That's fine. I recommend Dan Hall for the City of Muskogee Foundation Board 2-year term, and I move for that approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes, sir.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Carries. Item number 11.
Consider approval of the appointment of John Schilt to the Muskogee City County Trust Port Authority, subject to confirmation of the county commissioners, and to the Muskogee City County Port Authority to serve a 4-year term beginning on September 1st, 2016, and ending on August 31st, 2020, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Kell.
Yes. There are some folks that we appoint to some of these boards that have extraordinary attributes to be on various boards. John Schilt's one of those. Longtime Muskogee resident, longtime Muskogee businessman, has engineering experience. He's got a boat out here at our marina, familiar with waterways and comparable matters, international boating, familiar with international marinas. I think he's an excellent choice to have on the Port Authority, and would like to see him approved for that.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. Mr. Chairman,
yeah.
may I be recognized?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. This is not a 5-minute deal, correct?
No.
Okay. Mr. Kell, you know I respect you daily, and I respect you highly. But on this Port Authority here board, I just have a problem. We had 3 appointments from the county commissioners. I was disappointed in them. Same people over and over and over. On this board here, on our city council right here, we have 3 appointments over and over and over. Mr. Jones was supposed to be my appointment, but Ms. Cagle, Ms. Boyston there, she put him right back on the board. But I didn't know at the time that Mr. Jones had been on this board since 1994. That's 22 years he's been on the Port Authority board. This gentleman you getting ready to put on, Mr. Kell, I'm pretty sure if you picked him, he's a good man. But he's been on this board also since 1994. And we as councilmen up here, we harp about the police, we harp about the fire department not having enough minorities or diversity, but we have ourselves our own nerve to not to put diversity on this board. It shouldn't have been my responsibility as a black councilman up here.
I make a motion we cease
No, sir.
discussion.
No, sir.
And
No, sir.
we
No,
move
sir.
forward with the vote. Motion
Mr.
is
Gully,
second.
Mr. Gully, I'll go to the 5 minutes because, hey, he's cutting me off again. This is like I'm a councilman. I'm not down there at the mic, Mr. Johnson. You do this to me every time. You do this to me every time I'm talking. You kind of cut me off. But I'm a councilman sitting up here now. I'm not at that mic.
I made a motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This is just for clarification, this is a motion of previous question, so we're simply voting whether we're terminating debate.
Yes.
This isn't the action item.
Right.
Correct.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Attorney. Can I still go with my 5 minutes?
He signed.
I signed up for 5 minutes. That's why I had to sign up, because Mr. Johnson's so rude over there. He cuts me off every time. Now, if you want me to sign for 3 minutes, I'll go down to that mic and sign. But y'all gonna hear what I got to say today.
Based on a motion previous question, the only action, if it passes, would be an immediate vote on the item itself. It would not allow for further discussion.
So even though Mr. Van has signed up,
Correct.
That ends that discussion.
Previous question terminates debate and moves to an immediate vote on the issue.
May I ask, I thought it, and I understand with relation to debate, but with relation to just on the citizen comment period, there's really no debate for that. I just wanted to clarify that.
I still have the right on that 5 minutes as a citizen and a council. Y'all shut me down as a councilman, but you can't shut me down also as a citizen.
Our following a parliamentary procedure can be modified as necessary. The practical application of a motion to previous question is to immediately cease debate and go to a vote on the question on the floor. However, we're not locked into having to do that as well. If the council wishes, we could close debate among the council based on this motion and allow public comment. But I would ask that the motion be modified to allow that to happen.
And also, Mr. BC, in previous meetings where we motioned to end discussion, we motioned to end discussion and then we voted on the issue separately.
No, that's what's gonna, is what I said would happen.
That's what's gonna happen?
Yes.
Okay.
This is not on the issue at hand.
Okay.
This is to cease debate, but I think just for clarification, the motion would be to move to previous question while recognizing we still have a citizen signed in to speak.
Since I did not anticipate this, and I told Mr. Van that he would be able, didn't need to sign up, that he would have his 5 minutes, that we wouldn't, so.
As a practical matter, let's just let Mr. Van finish and go on.
Well, what I'm saying is we're going to go ahead and vote on this motion, but then Mr. Van can step down and give us 5 minutes.
That is if the motion passes.
Right.
Correct.
Did Councilman Johnson modify his motion, though?
No.
Okay.
Not that I-
I saw your head shake. That's why I wanted to make sure.
So if we pass this motion, then we have to tell Mr. Van he doesn't, as a citizen, he doesn't have his 5 minutes.
Well, it's in the purview of the chair. If you would like to recognize him as a citizen, you can.
Okay.
There would be no further debate. You can recognize him as the chair for his 5 minutes as a citizen.
Okay.
I have a question. Why is it every time that I get ready to speak and say something that I know is true, you want to shut me down? I have a problem with that. Citizens out here in this audience that's looking at this on TV, I know they have a problem with it. Every time I get ready to say something or speak and it's the truth, you want to just vote it down, oh, we're going to take a vote right quick. You want to do me that way every single time. Every single time. This is the 4th time you've done that to me. I thought by me being up here as a councilman, I meant something. But I guess not.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
No.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
No.
Derek Reed.
No.
Dan Hall.
No.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
It passed.
5-4?
5-4.
Mr. Van, you have 5 minutes. And I think you know the name and address, please, sir.
Ivory Van, 911 Holden, Muskogee, Oklahoma. Yes, I was going to talk on this issue. I said in the beginning, it doesn't make any sense on this port board that me, the only black councilman up here, that applied a black woman to be on this Port Authority board. And that's ridiculous. I mean, it's like this. It's been like this for years and years and years. And things has got to change. We need change because, like I said, it just don't make sense. Every person up there as a councilman, we had 3 appointees. One of y'all besides me could appoint Miss Toby Ledbetter, and she's very qualified to be on that Port Authority board. But it took a black man like me to appoint my own minority color to be on this board because you want to keep using the same people over and over and over. And like I said, this gentleman here that Mr. Kale has put on the board again, he's been on here since 1994, 22 years. 4 more years is going to add him on that board for 26 years. We live in a city like this. We want our children to stay here in Muskogee and get done like this. I know I wouldn't want mine staying here to get done like this. It's wrong. You say diversity, you don't believe in diversity. You believe in putting the good old boys back into place like you normally do. Because like I say, if you didn't, all these people wouldn't be on this same board over and over and over. And it's wrong. Give us citizens a break. Let some other people serve. There's other people qualified out here to serve on this board. But see, I had to come all the way down to this mic because Mr. Johnson, Councilman Johnson, wants to shut me down every time I say something. That's correct. If I'm saying something is wrong today, I want people to tell me I'm wrong. You know, I believe in diversity. I don't care if it was a Spanish person. I don't care if it's an Indian person. That person needs to be on that port board. I went on a port boards ride the other day with a couple people. And I'm not going to call his name. He asked me, Mr. Ivory, you look around here, you see something different? I said, well, no. He said, it's only 4 black people out here. And the only reason I was out there because I was a city councilman and I had a guest with me. The next one was Miss Ledbetter. I appointed her to the board and she brought her daughter. It was 4 blacks on that boat. Other than that, it wouldn't have been none. So there's something wrong with this picture. We went back to the Port Authority and got the records of who all has been on these boards. I tell you what, it has been some minorities that I didn't know about, but that was years and years and years ago. This is 2016. Y'all are still treating us like we're slaves. Don't want to put us on nothing, just like the foundation board. Don't want to put me on the foundation board. Because you know what? Because I speak up for what's right. And I guarantee you, what I'm saying to y'all today is right. I went to see a gentleman that was on the port board last night. Nice, I'm not going to call his name. Nicest gentleman I ever met. One of the nicest gentlemen I ever met. And we sat down and we had a long discussion. But still, next time this Port Authority Board come up as a city and as county commissioners, we need to take a good look at things. Because I had definitely a good county commissioner, guy for the county. He's a CFO of Griffin's. Also owns a hardware store in Haskell, but he was a black minority, but they wouldn't put him on the board. So the county commissioner was wrong for that, just like this city, to reappoint the same people over and over and over. But you take people been on the board since 1994, and this is 2016, and you got another 4 years to go. Council, Mayor, I have a hell of a problem with that. And that's all I have to say. But like I say, Mr. Johnson, you keep shutting me down like this, I'm going to come to this mic every single time because I have constituents out there watching me right now, and they know I'm telling them the truth. So congratulations to Mr. Kell's appointee for another 4 years, which will make 22 years this man has been on the board. Thank you very, very much. And thank you also for allowing me to speak, But I enjoy being a councilman. But like I say, when I'm sitting in that seat, I'm going to do the best I can to be the best councilman I can be. Because when I was at the mic, you mistreated me. Now you try to mistreat me up there. But I'll be doggone if you do. Thank you.
Mr. Kell, did I have a motion for this appointment?
Yes, I'd like to make the motion that to appoint John Schilt to the Muskogee County.
Did I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
No.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Seeing that no citizens wish to address this committee, we are adjourned.
We will now call the special call meeting in Muskogee City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Item number 1.
I gotta find a file. Consider approval of a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Muskogee to execute the deeds and/or related instruments as may be required to convey the real property located at the southeast, northeast, and northwest corners of Highway 69 and Highway 62, more particularly described as attached to the state of Oklahoma, as well as accept the conveyance of property from the state of Oklahoma to the city of Muskogee or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Mayor, members of the council, this is a housekeeping matter from a project that we have been working on since 2014. As you all may remember, we purchased several parcels of property on the three corners of Highway 69 and 62 from the Board of County Commissioners back in 2014, following the closing of the fourth parcel on the southwest corner for Quick Trip. After we acquired that, we began negotiations with the Oklahoma Department of Transportation for breaks in the limits of no access, which would provide for driveway approaches to those parcels, which had previously been indicated as limits of no access. In addition, there is a substantial part of the property that was designated as ODOT right-of-way. And so in exchange for conveyance of that right-of-way claimed by ODOT, ODOT then agreed to give us property that they owned in the internal portion of the site. So we have been working on that diligently for the past 2 years, and having exchanged surveys left and right, finally have come to an agreement as to what the appropriate legal description is for the parcels that we are conveying and also receiving from the Department of Transportation. So if you approve this item, we will execute the necessary deeds and also accept the deeds from an ODOT to the city. And that will allow us to move forward with the development of these three corners. Happy to answer any questions, but I recommend approval.
Other questions or comments?
One question, there's no money exchange, all the money's been done?
Yes.
This is just a kind of a housekeeping
Yes, sir.
issue. Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments?
Do appreciate staff's all their work on this
Oh,
project.
my gosh, you can't imagine what all they've done for years on getting this done.
The cost related is blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes.
And thank you so much.
And it pertains to all of the corners, and that's
Yeah.
the beauty of it that helps us going forward. Other comments or questions? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston. Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Item number 2.
Consider and take action with respect to approving a co-development agreement between the City of Muskogee, the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority, and private landowners for the purpose of economic development, and to authorize the city manager to solicit sealed proposals for the sale and development of the Three Corners area or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker again.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is a related item. As you all may remember, when we were negotiating with ODOT to give some of the right-of-way and accept other parcels, we then expanded and approached the private landowners who owned parcels that were adjacent to the Three Corners at 69 and 62. We have had several negotiations with those owners, which are attached within the, who are identified as attached on the proposal. Inhofe Land and Cattle, Shawnee Street Property, Combs Hospitality, and Ragsdale Funeral Center. What we felt that executing a development agreement with those parties would allow for a much more expanded parcel of property available for development. In some cases, turning a 10-acre tract into a 20-acre tract. In other cases, turning a 4-acre tract into a 15-acre tract. We have negotiated with those developers, received confirmation on all but one, which we're still trying to get a signature on. That third party is aware of the agreement and has given tacit approval, but we still haven't been able to get a signature yet. And so once we have this agreement with your approval signed, then that will allow us to solicit for proposals for redevelopment of all acreage within those three corners that are under the control of the city as well as the private landowners who would join the property. Happy to answer any questions, but a copy of the development agreement was attached in your packet. That's the one we're waiting on, Combs Hospitality, yes. We did have you'll notice that Ragsdale Funeral Center is not signed in the packet, but we did receive a signature from them, so we're simply waiting on that one.
Questions or comments?
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Anything further? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 3.
Consider approval to renew a cooperative agreement between the City of Muskogee and Downtown Muskogee Incorporated in the amount of $45,500 for fiscal year 2017, providing for the promotion of economic well-being and development of the community by enhancing and revitalizing the downtown area or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker again.
Mayor, members of council, you may recall during our budget discussions, we agreed to increase the amount of funding that was allocated to DMI. Downtown Muskogee, Inc. The reason why this was not approved around budget time is DMI was working on preparing their proposed budget for the city, which they wanted to delay until they had their strategic meeting. That meeting has occurred, and I was presented with a copy of the proposed budget indicating how the additional $15,500 funding would be utilized. A copy of that budget was attached in your packet, but as you may recall, when we discussed increasing the funding to DMI, we indicated that there would be a restriction that it be on programming and not on salaries. And so this budget does reflect that those considerations were taken into account when submitted to the city for your consideration. Councilman Johnson, of course, is here and does chair the DMI board, and so if there are any specifics related to the budget that I'm unable to answer, I'm sure that he can step in, but we'll recommend approval, and this is just simply a renewal of the existing contract. The modification relates to the amount that was given, and we've cleaned up a few things related to when the reporting structure must be done. Happy to answer any questions, otherwise I recommend approval.
So instead of the additional $45,500, it's actually $15,500, and you'll see the differences reflected in our budget. It's $3,500 for marketing and promotions. $10,000 additional was changed in our budget on events, and then you'll see the other descriptions that was difference in our budget.
Move for approval.
Sure. May I be recognized?
Get a motion, and did
Second.
we have a second also?
Second.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mann.
Yes, it's 45,500. Is that, that's not including, that's not that sidewalk issue, is it?
No, the additional was going to be $45,000. $30,000 of that was taken out for the hiring of OU for the Institute of Quality Communities, and that was not paid to downtown Muskogee. It was kept for the city to pay OU for the Institute of Quality Communities for the downtown study.
How much is this OU study?
$30,000.
We're paying them $30,000 to go downtown and look and see what's wrong? Is that right?
Well, it's a master plan.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's basically right. We're paying them $30,000 to go down to downtown, like you said, to see what's wrong with our downtown, to enhance it, correct?
No, it's a master plan. It's not to say what's wrong. It's to review everything from traffic to lighting to sidewalks to infrastructure to do a master plan for the downtown.
That's what I'm saying. It's still $30,000 that we're paying them to go look around and see what they
This
can
is
do
what
for
they
downtown.
proposed to us that was probably of a value of about $120,000. But yes, they're going to charge us $30,000, which is what their cost would be.
So we don't have anybody smart enough here, engineers here in Muskogee, that we wouldn't have had to pay them $30,000. We don't have any individuals right here in the city of Muskogee that has the capability to do what we're paying these people $30,000 to do. That's
Those
what you're saying.
people is OU.
I understand, but I'm just saying, do we have any people here in Muskogee?
This is what we submitted for. The city submitted for.
Right, but we keep spending money. $30,000 is $30,000.
This was a budgeted amount.
I don't know it. I wasn't at the budget retreat because I was out of town, and I would have said something then. But a lot of this stuff here, I didn't know anything about, because I was gone. But what I'm saying is, we keep bringing people in to tell us what to do and get these studies and all this, and we wasted money doing
I
that.
would say there's nobody in town that does a master plan.
Nobody in town to do a master plan.
Gary could better refer to this as far as
Do it a complete plan. I don't think there is anyone in Muskogee. You got different aspects of the plan, like all the way up Dyke and Bellum could do a part of it. But if you was to bid this out and hire a company to do it, like Councilman Johnson said, it would be well over $100,000 for a project this size. OU is doing it as a class project, it's a year-long project that their students and instructors will be doing. And they've actually are working on some additional items that they're going to be doing above and beyond the master plan that we'll be bringing to you hopefully here shortly.
And it's going to take them how long to do this plan?
he just said a year.
A year-long process.
You'd listened.
The year process.
Yes.
So it'll be a year before we see any results from it.
I know.
They will have meetings throughout the year. They're putting together a steering committee, and I think that committee will meet probably 8 or 9 times. They will sit down with council members, downtown property owners, Depot District Group, Katy District Group, DMI, the Chamber, and have several different meetings.
It's just a
discussions
shame.
during that process.
Just a shame we don't have anybody here capable in Muskogee, Oklahoma, all these engineers we have. And, I mean, it's just a shame to me.
Yeah, and a lot of the master plans we do, there will be some local involvement, like the one for the urban renewal. Hallway up Dyke and Bellum was a partner in that, and they did a lot of the engineering portion of that master plan.
Councilman Van, do you remember this coming to the council and then making a presentation and you voting on this item?
I don't remember this, sir.
I can tell you that this will be some of Oklahoma's best and brightest, and maybe some kids from Muskogee working on it. But for the quantity and quality of information and expertise that they're going to give us for the costs involved, it's really a pretty good opportunity for the city, I think.
Just wondering. You know,
Other
like I said,
comments?
$30,000, $30,000. And we waste a lot on these surveys and stuff. That's all I can say, Councilman Johnson. We waste a lot of money on this stuff. A lot.
This would not be contributed to the budget that's being revision that's being proposed tonight.
Where's this money coming from, by the way?
It comes out of the Economic Development Fund.
Okay. Don't come out of taxpayers' pocket.
Well, it's all taxpayer money, but it comes out of the Economic Development Fund, which is use tax.
Okay. The taxpayers are still paying for this, correct? So we're paying to get this OU survey. I just want,
Well, now, the OU survey, that was a contract that was approved probably a couple months ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
This item is just to approve the renewal with the DMI contract.
Yeah, but
Because we contract with them every year, but they hadn't provided us with a budget until very recently because they wanted to have their strategic plan. So what the difference between what's presented tonight and what had been presented in previous years is we've added an additional $15,500 to support DMI in addition to the $30,000 that we typically give them each year.
But our taxpayer dollars are still supporting this project,
Yes.
DMI.
Yes, that's correct.
All the taxpayer, I mean, use tax comes from out of state sales,
Anything
correct?
that's used here, yes.
Anything's used here. But that's
Purchased
what
somewhere and used here.
my
yes.
point is that taxpayers is paying for this, DMI stuff.
Yes. Yes.
It's on this packet, what I'm looking right now in front of me. I just want to make sure that taxpayers know that they're paying for this. This is a tax, this is not a DMI, $30,000, $45,000. This is taxpayers' money.
It's tax, yes, that we're contracting with DMI to support downtown revitalization.
Okay. Listen, like I said, as long as the taxpayers know what they're paying for, they're wasting $30,000 and all that, hey, that's up to them. Yeah, that's me too. You
We've
know,
got a
hey.
motion and we've got a second. Is there further comments or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
No.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 4, A, B, and C.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. A, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 57, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. B, pursuant to Section 307C10, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session for the purpose of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development within the City of Muskogee Urban Renewal Project area, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. C, pursuant to Section 307C10, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session for the purpose of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development within the Urban Renewal Project area, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session, including possible approval of an economic development agreement and sales contract between a developer, the Urban Renewal Authority, and the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority, and the City of Muskogee.
Entertain a motion regarding executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. We will now consider ourselves in executive session. If you would excuse us from the council chamber for a few minutes. We'll now reconvene from executive session. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Gully. Dan Hall.
Present?
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Mr. Beachy, I think you're going to handle all three of these items, if I'm correct.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 4A, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma Statutes, council did convene an executive session to discuss negotiations with the International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 57, and after being fully briefed and providing necessary direction to staff, no action is necessary. 4B, pursuant to Section 307C10, Title 25 Oklahoma Statutes, council did convene an executive session for the purpose of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development within the City of Muskogee Urban Renewal Project Area. And after being fully briefed, no action is necessary. Item C, pursuant to Section 307C10, Title 25 Oklahoma Statutes, council did convene an executive session for the purpose of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development within the urban renewal project area. And after being fully briefed and discussing the same, I believe a motion would be appropriate authorizing the city manager to execute an economic development agreement with Dar Restaurant Group LLC, and further authorize the sale of certain specific real property in the URA as related to the above economic development agreement with a sale price of $950,000, and authorize the city manager to execute all documents related to the same.
Move for approval.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Definitely.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Is that a double yes?
Let me ask
Yes.
Mark Dean to come up and join us in the front, and we are pleased to announce to you the addition of DAR LLC to our city. And Mr. Hall is excited and would like to say thank you for bringing Colton Steakhouse to
I'm assuming
Muskogee.
he's the one that Ricky said we need to put a flag that says, I got your steakhouse for you.
Yes.
Mark Dean, we introduced to you as a franchisee for Colton Steakhouse, Muskogee, Oklahoma.
I appreciate the city having me here tonight. We're very excited about coming here. You know, we started this about 5 or 6 months ago and decided we were going to come to Oklahoma and started researching cities and looking into it, and you know, decided Muskogee was, in conclusion, was a place where we needed to be for the first Coltons in Oklahoma. You know, I want to thank Mr. Tucker, you know, Gary Garvin, Mike Miller, Mr. Coburn. That's who I've had contact with. They've been very instrumental in getting us here, and we're very excited about being here. You know, we're going to look to break ground in mid-November and then be open 5 months, mid-April. So mid-April, you'll have you a steak.
All right. It's almost like I ran for city council for the purpose of having a steakhouse in Muskogee, because it's like one of the primary questions that we get asked every day. When are y'all going to get a steakhouse here? Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you.
I can give you just a little bit of background of Colton's
Please do.
Steakhouse. It was started by a man named Bobby Fain in 1996. The first store was in Conway, Arkansas. We're an Arkansas-based chain. We now have 35 stores. Muskogee will be the 36th. We're in 5 states. Muskogee will be Oklahoma will be the 6th state. You know, steaks, seafood, chicken.
Razorbacks?
Got Razorbacks. Oh yeah, definitely.
Just wondering.
Definitely, I'm a Razorback fan.
Okay.
But my mom's the OU fan, so.
Well, fair enough.
So.
We like your mom. We don't even know her.
Yeah, there you go.
Feel free to introduce if you would like, if you have another employee
I've got,
or whatever.
Elizabeth Yarberry. She runs the Van Buren store, and she has ownership in Dar Restaurant Group.
Great. Welcome.
The manager you'll have coming from Arkansas to run Muskogee also will have ownership, which we think is very important. You know, they've got a stake in it. They're gonna care a lot more about it.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Well,
I'll be happy to take any questions if anybody's got anything.
Went to one of your facilities in Rolla, Missouri.
Yes.
And had a very nice lunch and was thoroughly impressed with the operation and everything about it, your menu selection. So I'm excited.
Good. I'm glad
Meeting
of it.
space, seating, did you say that was around 50?
What's a meeting space? Yeah, it'll hold, you know, we've had 50 in the building you'll be in. We've had 50 in that room before, but 35 to 40 is very comfortable. So that room, it gets used a lot. It's a good room. It's completely separated from everybody else, has the door shut off, so it's a good room for sure.
Is that some extra menus I see back
Yes, I was actually going to bring my...
Did you bring food?
You just smelled it.
So are we doing lunch, dinner, breakfast, or just dinner?
Lunch and dinner.
Lunch and dinner?
Open 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Thank you.
Mark, what will be business hours? Kind of 9:30, 10:30, 11 o'clock?
10:45 to 9:30 on Sunday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday, 10:45 to 10. Now, depending on, all the stores are different, so if we're getting, if we see that Muskogee's a town that doesn't shut down at 9 o'clock and we still got people coming in at 10, we'll adjust our hours. We'll kind of play that, we'll know within a month or two what we need to do as far as that goes. So.
Super. Anybody got any other questions or comments?
I have a question. You don't like on your grand opening?
Yes,
You have
sir.
any like Chick-fil-A? They gave 52 meals free if you were there. You stayed all night.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, y'all have any kind of promotions like
Hey,
that? For
we've got 6 soft openings. We'll have you at every one. We do. We have six different soft openings where our staff practices, and y'all will all be invited to one or all. So.
Ivory just likes camping out in front.
Name one of them, the Dan Hall grand opening, soft
There you go.
opening.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
Mark, thank you. That's all we've got, and we're excited, and we know that you are as well.
We are. Sure. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Do you want these back?
Menus? Thank you. That concludes our agenda. Did I say that right? That concludes our agenda for the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority. We will now
City
go-
Council.
City Council.
I'm sorry.
We're going to redevelop.
City Council. We will now go to our Muskogee Redevelopment Authority. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Item 1.
Consider approval of the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority minutes of August 2nd, 2016.
Do we have additions or corrections?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van. Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Item number 2.
Consider and take action with respect to approving a co-development agreement between the City of Muskogee, the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority, and private landowners for the purpose of economic development, and to authorize the city manager to solicit sealed proposals for the sale and development of the Three Corners area or take other necessary action.
Mr. Miller, do you have further comment or update on this item?
No, somehow we got Roy on the first one and me on the second one. We don't need to rehash it. It's the same sort of information that we've already discussed.
Okay. So no action is needed on this item?
We need approval.
We need approval on this.
Move
item.
for
Sorry.
approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Item number 3.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. A, pursuant to Section 307C10, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session for the purpose of conferring on matters pertaining to the economic development within the urban renewal project area, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session, including possible approval of an economic development agreement and sales contract amongst a developer, the Urban Renewal Authority, the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority, and the City of Muskogee.
Mr. Besey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Based on previous approval by City Council and therefore recommendation to this committee, I believe a motion would be appropriate authorizing the city manager to execute an economic development agreement with Dar Restaurant Group LLC and further authorize the sale of certain specific real property in the URA as related to the economic development agreement with a sale price of $950,000 and authorize the city manager to execute all documents related to the sale.
So move.
Second.
Motion. We got a second. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries, and I think that concludes our agendas for today, and we thank you for being a part of our meetings.